Oh, the mighty Cynthia, knowledgeable archaeologist and slayer of every kid's underleveled team. This mythical champion is overwhelming to many, though is her strength radiant enough to claim that same title in the Galar region? Hey, what's up everyone? Jukem here with a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Sword. The Pokémon choices in this challenge are of any Cynthia has personally used throughout the mainline Pokémon games, as well as the anime where she has a Komo-o. Sadly, Electros is the single sap unavailable in these games. Still, this grants us a wide variety of choices, but remember that in a Nuzlocke, if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and can no longer be used. The hardcore rules of this challenge can be seen here as well. Before we start, if Nuzlocke challenges or Pokemon content in general are up your alley, please consider liking the video and subscribing. And as always, be sure to check out my Twitch in the description if live Nuzlocke attempts have your interest. Lastly, comment down below your answer for today's question of the day: who is your favorite Pokemon champion? Mine is Wallace because I'm biased and Emerald was my childhood game. Bring back the magnificent Cape, Game Freak! With that all said, let us rise up to this new, in-universe, sponsor-heavy Pokemon Gym Challenge beginning in Postwick. Me and my bestie / future victim of identity crisis Hop meet up with the unbeatable champion Leon, who finished his live exhibition match and traveled across the region by railway within the span of 5 minutes. How? Champion time difference. While Leon's gift of a starter Pokemon is kind, that sucker ain't going to see the light of day. You best know this guy and his sponsors will be weeping by the end of the gym challenge with my Sinonian squad, featuring an American bird and tropical scaly lads. Speaking of, some of Cynthia's Pokemon are only available in Gen 8's DLCs. Undergoing this challenge without signature Pokemon like Garchomp would be a crime, and for that reason, I brought in Gible, Spiritomb, and Porygon eggs. It's only right that Gible is our true starter Pokemon. Let's do our best, Apollo. I'll hatch another egg after every 3 gyms to not front load our team this early on, especially when we can secure our first caught new ally straight after, being Dionysus the Badoo. By force feeding this baby numerous friendship raising berries and making it witness the foundations of war, he can evolve into Roselia. And since evolution stones are obtained immediately from the dynamic digging duo, one shining stone is all Dionysus needs to become an all-powerful Rose Raid. With access to Giga Drain and other delightful moves from the move reminder, he is looking to make this early game a breeze, including the otherwise difficult to maneuver around bead fight in the Galar mine. Upon exiting the mine, an Eevee from Route 4 is available to us. Say hello to Hephaestus. While not fitting with the element he shall soon become, his heart is burning with passion as he is a crafty son of a gun. Returning to the digging duo, an ice stone can be dug up. After many an attempt, mind you. With the Sub-Zero relic in hand, Hephaestus gains the form of Glaceon. Then once the game holds my hand since it cannot trust me to not get lost in Hallway Simulator, trademarked, we're able to challenge our first gym leader, the grass-type expert Milo. Hephaestus' new icy form will be key in defeating this farm boy. His Gossiflore's wet paper bag defenses crumple to our icy wind, while Eldegoss can prove troublesome with his Dynamax. Unlike many bosses in this game, I won't be using Dynamax for an extra bit of challenge. Because of that, if I am not one-shotting the opponent's Dynamax Pokemon, I'm cowering until it's over. You guys are watching a kaiju movie that mainly focuses on the human characters and not the BA badass monster on the cover. That said, Icy Wind still delivers a decent chunk of damage, with Hephaestus' high defensive stats overcoming even Eldegoss' max moves, despite his best efforts to take us out with 2 crits in a row. Great introduction to this mechanic. Another crit max trick would do us in, so thankfully I had the foresight to equip Dionysus with a Chillin' Berry to reduce Eldegoss' damage output on his final turn of Dynamax. Toxic and a couple Giga Drains later, Milo's Plant Lance have come up short of stopping us, allowing us to gain our first Galarian Gym Badge. Before heading toward Holbury for our deep end second gym match, now's the perfect chance to explain my use of Watts. A secondary currency for wild area activities like the aforementioned digging duo, Watts also let me buy immensely helpful TMs. My baby shark is ready to set off a world-ending earthquake. Watts are earned through interacting with max raid dens. Grinding these is easy, if a bit tedious, through changing the clock on my real, like actually real, Nintendo Switch. Completing raid battles rewards us with TMs and other useful items as well. What can I say? I am in love with these upgrades to our team. Though none of these TMs will be in use quite yet, because once we endure the loudest sound known to man in Nessa's gym, we're able to face her and her water types in battle. This is a seafood feast for Dionysus and his naturally learned Giga Drain. Goldeen, Aracuda, and even the Dynamaxed 4x Grass Weakness victim all fall in a single blow. I have a feeling this handshake isn't sincere. Hey Nessa, are you feeling okay? This game's pacing do be kinda funky. The third gym is right around the corner with not much between Holbury and our return to Motostoke. All that's notable is a new team member in Poseidon the Shellos. Clearly the incorrect color compared to Cynthia's, but I think it's forgivable since the blue form is better in every conceivable way and you'll have to deal with it. Also, can we talk about this anime screenshot I found while on Shellos' Bulbapedia page? Every face here is so funny to me for different reasons. You have confused Shellos, mildly concerned Shellos, extremely concerned Shellos, depressed Shellos, and Shellos blinded by the sun as the days of this very planet are but a footnote in the expansive history of the universe. Fun little slug dudes. Anyway, Kabu and his team of fire types will be a rough hurdle to hop over. Despite being in possession of a ground and water type, neither can fully evolve nor normally handle Kabu's Pokemon for prolonged periods. One way we can secure a safer fight is to acquire a Togepi from Bridgefield in the wild area. Granted, there's only a 1 in 3 chance with Togepi's level ranges to level up once to evolve into Togetic before using a shiny stone for Togekiss. It's worth a shot at least. As I continued to enter the tall grass, running into a myriad of encounters, my anticipation grew with each egg-shaped Pokemon found until 15 minutes later, a level 28 Togepi. Hermes can't even be brought as a meat shield, though luckily I've cooked up some ideas to endure this heat as our match with Kabu begins. Kabu leads with his Will-O-Wisping Ninetales while mine is Apollo. I decide this is where I'm punching in my cheapness card, summoning a substitute to block Ninetales' burn attempt. Leftovers and Protect Stall will also heal me continuously to make up for the HP loss. Then we chuck Stealth Rocks onto the field. This is the moment Kabu realizes he is in danger because he can't even break our sub with his resisted Ember. One Earthquake puts the Fox down. Arcanine also falls to Earthquake thanks to the Stealth Rock damage and Intimidate being negated by our sub. Last is Kabu's scariest Pokemon, Centiskorch. He might be reeling from losing half his HP on the way in, but this guy's Gigantamax form is threatening with his G-Max Centiferno trapping you in. Unfortunately for the big squiggly bug, I spammed the substitute button on every turn of Centiskorch's Gigantamax duration. A final Earthquake takes him out for a very decisive sweep of Kabu's fire-type fiends, earning us our 3rd gym badge. With 3 badges under our belt, I'm able to add either Spiritomb or Porygon to my party. I decide on Spiritomb due to its bulk and 3 immunities to Normal, Psychic, and Fighting, the latter of which will be a huge help for staving off the next gym. We call him Hades, but don't forget Hermes. That fool thought he could outrun his duty-bound fate of being in my squad, but no, just that level cap. On our way to Hammerlock, we find a Rufflet. Ares is one of those Unovan Pokemon who evolve after the heat death of the universe, meaning we won't really see much use of him until way later. Following myself witnessing an old lady pass through the Sahana Desert in heavy clothing, rest in peace, she was a real one, we washed the Stow-N-Side gym trainers with our newfound spooky and mystical powers before it's time to do the same with the martial artist leader, B. B starts off with her Hitmontop as I send out Hermes. His strongest offensive options come in the form of a fairly weak Quick Attack, with our Dazzling Gleam almost nailing the OHKO. I then take the moment to use a combination of Yawn for sleep inducement, Life Dew for healing, and Charm for lowering attack to achieve the knockout on Hitmontop with a more favorable HP amount. By the end of it, Hermes has lost just 7 HP and Hitmontop falls. B's Pangoro deals relatively minor damage with his super effective Bullet Punch before going down to another Dazzling Gleam. Meanwhile, Sirfetch'd is another Yawn Life Dew Fest to eventually beat him with Hermes' health at max. Then comes B's Ace Gigantamaxing Machamp. Decked out with physical fighting, normal, and dark attacks, Charm will permanently cripple Machamp's attack output. Hermes can always survive a max strike in return, but for the next 2 turns, I swap out to my Pokemon twice. First to Hades to absorb a max strike, then back to Hermes on the max darkness. Once Machamp's install mode is finished, Hades can whittle away at the Muscle Man with Nightshades. B seems very confused on how to properly hit Hades, to the point of using Scary Face even when I'm at -6 speed. I guess Knockoff has some programming quirks when you aren't equipped with an item, which I did intentionally here, but not to this extent. Works for me. Machamp goes down with ease, resulting in another gym badge to add to our collection. There really isn't much between us and the next gym. Sure, there's historical damage, I guess. That's pretty based. The most I can say is that I went back to the wild area to catch a Riolu. As Lucario, Zeus is sure to strike light lightning against Opal. His steel typing will be a blessing as this positively pink fight begins. Opal leads with her Galarian Weezing as Zeus is sent in. This Weezing has a wondrous moveset of Sludge, Fairy Wind, and Tackle. What were they cooking for the 5th gym? This Weezing is so bad that he is perfect fodder to increase our stats and sweep Opal's team. Of course, I refuse to use setup moves. Outside substitute that one time, ignore that. But Opal's questionable quiz questions provide stat boost to your Pokemon if you answer them correctly, even if you straight up lie to her to make herself feel better about her decaying body and mind. This technically ain't a setup move. Yoink! We survive for 8 turns thanks to Protect and Life due to Electric Boogaloo, gaining +2 to our attacking and defensive stats as well as speed. With these buffs, Zeus outspeeds and demolishes every fairy under Opal's command with Expert Belt Enhanced Flash Cannons. Not even Gigantamax Alcremie stood a chance. Our easiest gym battle yet, we've won another gym badge. Back to the weirdly spaced out gym battles. I can't say there aren't memorable moments in our adventure, like giving Hop his 6th realistic depiction of a panic attack. We did happen to get involved in a sussy situation in Circhester though. We upstaged the so-called great detective with basic comprehensive skills. One of my most reliable traits as a gamer. Finding the mastermind, this Squavit, we earned the wide lens. I probably won't be using this, but this side quest is really amusing and I thought I'd mention it. Afterward, we walked past a gym trainer who was looking directly at us because skill issue, and commence our match with the Rock-type 6th gym leader, Gordy. His 4x grass weakness victim is our first, well, victim to Dionysus's Giga Drain. Shuckle is second, who I swap Poseidon in on. We lower his health with ancient powers, being struck by speed lowering rock tombs in return. Poseidon's purpose is to perpetuate this matchup until he's slow enough for Shuckle to choose a different move. The AI loves to spam things like rock tomb to gain an edge in speed. That sure is an interesting mechanic considering Shuckle is tied for being the slowest Pokemon and keeps rock tombing my Slug even when he is at -5 speed. Luckily, going to -6 finally made us slower. With that, Poseidon calls upon a ferocious rainstorm that will spell the end for Gordy's sturdy squad. On our switch back to Dionysus, he dodges a Stone Edge. This was the 3rd one Shuckle missed. Middest battle I've ever been a part of. Anyway, I have a forecast under these rainy conditions, a 100% chance of clean knockouts across the board with weather balls. This report was not incorrect, granting us our 6th gym badge from Gordy. A fresh win to a fresh new ally appears. Athena the Porygon is on the team. I'll be trading over their evolutionary items from the Isle of Armor because I refuse to pay for this game's DLC twice. Succeeding my gaslighting of Sonia, we head back to Route 2 once our bike is upgraded to travel over water. We reach the fishing spots and hook a Feebas, who I named Cronus since it sure took a long while to find this dumb 1% fish. It is not the end of new encounters, as a Max Ray Den unveils a Hakamo. We safely defeat and catch the clangorous lizard. I named this guy Helios. Alas, Kommo-o is not an option for these end of journey gym battles because Helios was caught exactly on the final gym leader's level cap. Yet I don't think I'll be sweating too much without Helios as we meet the dark leader Piers, the boss of a bunch of goofy goobers. This voiceless singer won't be utilizing the Dynamax phenomenon, made up for by the fact that his ace Obstagoon is EV trained, unlike most other trainers Pokemon in this game. He starts off this fight with Scrafty as I go with Hermes. With only a fake out to his name, Scrafty gets sparkly all over by our Dazzling Gleam for an instant KO. Second is Malamar, who does survive a Dazzling Gleam, but cannot do much damage with his Psycho Cut to cause a problem. Another flash of my brilliance seals the deal. Obstagoon is third out. It's safer to tag Hermes out for Zeus, which we do freely as Obstagoon fails an Obstruct. To break through Obstagoon's HP EV investment, we take advantage of his 4x fighting weakness, securing the kill with Aura Sphere. Last is Skuntank. Zeus's typing makes him immune to toxic and resistant to Skuntank's dark attacks. He just stays in, tanks sucker punches, and brings the skunk down with 2 Aura Spheres. I've struck a chord with Piers and his crew, allowing us to gain our 7th gym badge. Onward to our 8th and final gym battle. With most of our squad fully evolved, including our signature ferocious Garchomp, we are finally able to showcase how effective our diverse Pokemon are. Raihan relies on weather as much as he does dragons. That said, I'm confident as things start up. Raihan's Gigalith and Flygon are our initial obstacles while I lead Apollo and Cronus. Right off the bat, the dragon ground types go at it in a one-sided duel. All Apollo needs is one Dragon Claw to KO him. Cronus, meanwhile, has an Expert Belt to deal over half Gigalith's health even with the Sandstorm special defense boost for rock types. His Stealth Rock is a bit of a non-factor here, due to the fact that with Sandaconda's arrival, we're in the clear to defeat both Pokemon so that Duraludon is by his lonesome. Gigalith with an Expert Belt Brick Break from Apollo, and Sandaconda with an overpowering Scald from Cronus. Duraludon appears and Gigantamaxes into his goated Pez dispenser form. Raihan then claims his G-Max depletion will cut right through me. And then, for a less stressful finale, Cronus burns this physical attacking dragon with Scald. Not totally necessary, with us swapping our left side Pokemon on resisted moves to survive Duraludon's Gigantamax turns, shouts to Heavy Duty Boots. When it's all said and done, our opponent is weak enough for a Sucker Punch from Hades and a Scald from Cronus to connect, culminating in our victory and earning us the last gym badge of Galar. All things considered, these gym leaders were pretty free. Who would have thunk? A champion with several amazing Pokemon had zero issues making an impact in another region. Though I don't think it's entirely because of the gym leaders and other boss trainers' teams. Outside Opal, what the heck is this? We simply have a lot of resources in the wild area that aid in these fights majorly, and that will remain true as we reach Winden for the Champion Cup. But also, real quick, screw this NPC, I swept multiple gym leaders with one Pokemon. What do you mean, you absolute buffoon? The opening match of the semifinals to decide which endorsed trainer may enter the finals is against Marnie. Her lead Liepard, like many dark types in this run, can't survive a Dazzling Gleam from Hermes. Once that kitty's been put down, I swap into Apollo on Marnie's Toxicroak, who just so happens to utilize the exaggerated swagger of a Toxic Mouth Pokemon. A Berry cures the confusion caused by it, granting our Landshark a doubled attack stat, letting him absolutely shred Marnie's team. Her Gigantamax Grimmsnarl has nothing on our super effective Ironhead. So sorry Marnie, we're off to the finals of the semifinals. Who structured this tournament? Hop is up and ready for another panic attack. He leads double while Helios makes his debut. A close combat pummels the spherical sheep into oblivion. Corviknight is second out. We switch to Hades and utilize Will-O-Wisp for chip and attack reduction. It does get very annoying when Swagger eventually strikes us, with Berries getting halted by Corviknight's Unnerve ability. Eventually, on a switch, Zeus's Choice Specs Aura Sphere delivers the big boy damage and finishes off the Metal Avian after Hop heals. After that, Helios pops back in to Drain Punch Snorlax twice for some nice simultaneous healing, while Poseidon walls Pinsirchin despite not possessing Storm Drain. Hop's Dynamax Rillaboom is his final Mon, who we handle the same way we handle every Dynamax Pokemon when we can't one-shot it, swapping on his obvious move choices and protecting to reduce the power of max moves by 75%. Switching to Dionysus on a high horsepower, his Expert Belt boosted Sludge Bomb defeats the Groovy Gorilla in one blow. That's the end for the semifinals and Hop's downward spiraling mentality. He honestly deserves better. But enough about character development. Entering the lore dump saga of Sword and Shield, featuring climbing a tower full of steel type with a useless sheep ally, Oleana is comparatively more useless in defending this place in the name of Chairman Rose. Apollo KOs Frostlass and Salazzle with Earthquake, Dionysus handles Milotic and Serena with Energy Balls and Sludge Bomb respectively, and once we do our swapping shenanigans against Gigantgarb, bada bing, bada Earthquake. Take the L, Oleana. You know, I do question the point of this whole sequence. It really just feels like it's an excuse to fight Oleana and nothing else. Loser! It simply ends with Leon exiting as we arrive near the end of their conversation. Like, boyo, we did no rescuing. We're failures. We'll suffer the consequences of Rose's actions later. We're currently in the finals of the Champion Cup. Tensions are building, especially when the Pinktastic Bead wanders in to demand a match with us. For his beginning Pokemon Mawile, Hermes absorbs her Intimidate before using Wish to ensure Apollo is swapped in with max health. Earthquake shatters Mawile the following turn. An Expert Belt then guarantees knockouts and beats Gardevoir and Galarian Rapidash with Ironhead. We do need to play around his Gigantamax Hatterene though, mainly because her G-Max Smite inflicts confusion guaranteed on impact. To get to my Hatterene answer, Zeus to Lucario, I first swap to Ares on her second attack, being a max Mindstorm. This sets up Psychic Terrain, which is essential for baiting Hatterene properly, as it will enhance her Psychic type attacks. This is notable due to Mindstorm and Smite sharing exact damage rolls in this situation. With Ares in kill range for a boosted Mindstorm and not Smite, it's time for him to U-turn to Zeus. His Focus Sash allows him to always survive Mindstorm, so this match is in the bag. So, this isn't a Pokemon AI moment. Terrains are just kinda quirky, gotta say. I was aware of how flying and levitating Pokemon ignore a terrain's effects, but the way it worked was reversed in my head. As shown, Ares, a flying type, ignored the type boost Psychic Terrain would have bestowed the Max Mindstorm, while I thought this would only occur if Hatterene was the one hovering over the terrain. Hi, so I was in the middle of editing this, right? And I figured I might as well check to see if this information is 100% correct, because I was just kind of going on a hunch the first time, and then when my hunch was wrong, I decided, oh, it must be this other way. But turns out, Psychic Terrain does boost Psychic type attacks the way I first thought of Hatterene getting a boost in Psychic damage to Braviary, even though Braviary is above the ground. It had to be Hatterene above the ground for any sort of non-boost effect to happen, and it really just makes me confused, because I don't know why Bead, the fraudulent Prodigy, the Prodigy, decided to go for G-Max Smite instead of Mindstorm, even though Mindstorm was the only thing that KO'd me in that situation. But what gets me here is that Psychic Terrain is so awkward that priority moves do work in the same way that I explained here. So like if a flying type used a priority move on a grounded Pokemon, it wouldn't work. But if a grounded Pokemon used a priority move on a flying Pokemon, it would work, even though it's the thing grounded and it would be affecting its attack. It's so stupid. It's like it just swippity swaps like that. But yeah, you guys can see how I ended up after this turn. Now in legit danger for the first time all run, I gamble and go into Hades on a random move. I clutch up and land the attack lottery in a psychic immunity. Since Hades for sure baits Dazzling Gleam here, I juke over to Dionysus, who can KO Hatterene with Sludge Bomb. Except Hatterene goes for Calm Mind to raise her special stats. I can't believe this farce. This is happening because of my mistake, but god dang it! To have any sort of chance to not lose a Pokemon, we're going to risk something great. A wonderful partner of ours, Apollo, is sent in on a guaranteed Psychic. The telekinetic attack is backed in power by Hatterene's Calm Mind and Terrain Advantage. Is this where our terrorizing ace falls? No, it ain't. With 2 HP and a dream, there isn't any other truth except that Bede's Hatterene is open for an Iron Head to knock her out. That was a close call against this newfound fairy gym leader. With Bede's rude interruption but a fickle memory, the finals can truly begin. Round 1 has us pit against Nessa. She leads with Golisopod as I send out Dionysus. His first impression would run us over like a truck without protecting on turn 1. Then I switch to Athena the Porygon Z, who is equipped with a Choice Scarf, and thus why I didn't begin with them. Golisopod wastes his one chance to attack by Swords Dancing, since a Thunderbolt the following turn zaps away half his health, activating Emergency Exit and going to Seeking in his place. Her choice of moves makes Helios a grand counter to her. No matter how many Smart Strikes connect, Leftovers and Drain Punch keep Helios in the green. We don't want Helios to kill Seeking though, so I swap back to Athena on a Smart Strike whose Thunderbolt fries the Goldfish. Athena then gets Golisopod on the field again. To tank the first impression, Helios's bug resistance is quite handy. Baiting Shadow Claw now, Athena comes out with their immunity before striking with another Thunderbolt KO. Third is Barraskewda, a furiously fast fishy who's why Athena has their Choice Scarf, outspeeding and one-shotting her with ease. Pelipper is up 4th and brings forth a Drizzle. We could beat Pelipper here, though I switch to Hephaestus as Tailwind is used. A Persenberry lets us safely tank a Water Pulse the next turn and replace the Rainstorm with Harsh Sunlight via Sunny Day. This won't last forever, especially because Cronus will be the one to defeat Pelipper through several Icy Winds and Scalds. Nessa's Dreadnought is a mild threat with Rain and Tailwind out the picture, so a few good old switches and swaps and whatnot lead to Helios devastating her with a couple of Drain Punches. Fun fact, this Dreadnought is a different gender compared to the one in Nessa's first battle, which makes sense, since this female one can Gigantamax while the male couldn't. Interesting factoid, and Snapping Turtles down in the drain, Nessa is defeated. For the rematch with B in round 2, I go with a much more coherent strategy. Slap Aries with a Choice Band, survive Hawlucha's high jump kick, and press the Aerial Ace button 4 times on B's fighters. You'll never guess that for Gigantamax Machamp, we swippity swap our Pokemon and use Protect to stall out 3 turns and beyond until the sun caused by Max Flare disappears. Hermes pops in as our ender to live a Strength and expose Machamp to 2 Dazzling Gleams for the knockout. That's B beat. Last in the finals is Raihan's rematch in the singles format. We're still weathering his weather as he begins with a Draught Torkoal while Apollo is thrown into the ring with a desire for blood. Holding an expert belt, his Earthquakes crack the armor of Raihan's shelled lizards while Dragon Claws make Flygon and Goodra go extinct. Raihan seeks redemption for failing his ultimate attack in the previous fight, regrettably switches to Zeus, and Hades successfully stop Duraludon's max moves, leaving Duraludon open to be burned by a Will-O-Wisp and destroyed by Poseidon's brutal earth power. I might be him, because with Raihan's defeat, we have the right to challenge the champion Leon. It'll be an epic duel. Sinnoh versus Galar, the Cynthia copycat versus the undefeatable champion, which is just what a champion is. This is a hype as hell day, and my day is ruined. Rose rose to the occasion with a negative 500 IQ plan to save Galar's energy supply several years before it'd ever be close to an issue. He couldn't wait one day. As our momentous battle with Chairman Rose commences, it's his Escavalier against Hermes. With Escavalier as slow as a snail because he quite literally stole a snail's armor, ya thief, Hermes' expert belt flamethrower delivers a steaming hot OHKO. Kling Clang is second out. Zeus rushes onto the battlefield to tank a wild charge before obliterating not only Kling Clang, but Ferrothorn and Berserker 2 with Choice Specs Aura Spheres. For Rose's Gigantamax Caparaja, who we could honestly defeat by tipping him over like bro is not getting back up, Poseidon is capable of living 2 of his max move turns by storing his health via a Citrus Berry and Recover. Then Cronus appears on a max Mindstorm that he was always guaranteed to survive. We also wait out Psychic Terrain through Recover spam just in case before switching to Ares on a Zen Headbutt, whose Choice Band close combat has met a very super effectivable target. Caparaja is down and out. We've won the battle against Chairman Rose, which... Actually, I don't know why we wasted our time doing this. We literally could have gone up the elevator to help Leon and ignore a guy that already accepted he failed. It wasn't like the elevator was locked or anything. We just apparently needed to fight him according to the game. Rose also says he'd forgotten how fun battles were, even though he also states that he fought Hop moments ago. So you only had fun when you lost? Didn't learn anything at all from Hop? My boy Hop, you doing him that dirty? Oh, whatever. Let's go and seize a random alien's rampage. Eternatus is a wild Pokemon, thus they choose moves at random. Possessing a ludicrous stat spread as well, it's impossible to predict what they will go for. Overall, I was very unprepared for Eternatus' first phase and risked many critical hits. But our water types' Recover spam did allow us to hang in there and PP stall their Dynamax Cannons and Dragon Pulses, eventually winning the fight thanks to our own lucky crits. In the Eternamax battle immediately after, things are plenty more scuffed. Hop, Zacian, and Zamazenta were a lot more useless than I expected. Okay, well, Hop's uselessness was expected, sorry, but Eternatus also headed out for me in particular. Obviously, a 1 in 4 chance to be targeted means nothing. Even with recovers to let me survive as these pieces of white bread go ham at Master Hand, Poseidon is in an awkward position and could very easily lose his life to a crit max move. A fate seemed destined to happen. Poseidon, you did your best, buddy. Sorry to let you down. Your waves may have ceased in this duel to save Galar, but I won't falter from here on out. Apollo is sent in afterward, and Eternatus continues with that hater energy, the true source of Dynamaxing, I assume, blasting Apollo with a max Whirlwind. His Focus Sash is the sole reason for his survival, so as the mid brigade continues to attack for minimal damage, like, come on Zacian, Howl isn't going to help us when our attack keeps being lowered anyway. Cronus is brought forth to handle the offensive pressure. Fortunately, my hot take preferred legendary doggo puts in the work to crunch away at Eternatus, dealing enough damage to finish this menace and save Galar. Not my best showing. I'll stay positive though. It only took until a legendary Pokemon with 2 distinct boss phases at the end of the game to dent my squad with 1 loss. But that's enough talk. Let's get on with why I'm here. There's but one match in this challenge, and it's sure to be a champion time. The crowd is roaring, and the energy flowing through the air is electrifying as Leon makes his extravagant entrance. Hope he's been keeping well, because I want him to go all out. I know that the bond I share with my Pokemon is strong, and that bond will take us to new heights. Champion Leon has accepted my challenge. Let's kick this battle off. Leon chucks his Pokeball containing Aegislash first as I send out Hades. These two ghosts go at it with defensive plays. We are obviously trying to strike Aegislash when he's in his less defensive Blade form. Attempting a Sucker Punch on this form's initial appearance didn't work, but Sucker Punch failing does not lower our attack against this guy's King Shield. Eventually, our full power Sucker Punch creeps up on Aegislash for a clean KO. Second out is Haxorus. To avoid a nasty outrage, Hades is swapped out for Hermes' Dragon Immunity. We don't stay for long and juke over to Zeus, who dodges an Iron Tail. A Choice Specs Dragon Pulse brings Haxorus to his knees. The upcoming Dragon Bolt is too quick to do the same, so Hades reappears on a Flamethrower. We Sucker Punch next turn for a large chunk of damage, though a Shadow Ball places Hades very low. Dragon Bolt at the very least is open to another super effective priority attack to feint him. Mr. Rime is Leon's 4th Pokemon of choice, and he actually poses quite the threat. With super effective coverage on 4 of my Pokemon between Freeze Dry and Thunderbolt, alongside Teeter Dance's guaranteed confusion and decent bulk and power, it is extremely unsafe to switch. At least, not without risking important Pokemon needed for the rest of this fight. I'm required to take a risk with Hades' life, though our Lumberry guarantees a free turn for us if Teeter Dance is used. Clicking Phantom Force, I see Mr. Rime's Freeze Dry shroud Hades in a terrifying blast of cold, which causes his demise. Returning to the underworld, I see. Goodbye, my beautiful, beautiful immunity monster. I'll miss you. With the fires of hell frozen over, Hermes appears and flamethrowers Mr. Rhyme for half his health. His Lumberry halts any teetered in shenanigery, meaning Hermes gets out of a fight with an ice type at full HP. Inteleon is 5th out. I go to Dionysus as the reliable water type counter, who, alongside myself, witness a tearful look. This act of defenselessness horrifies me. Am I a tyrant who wishes to systematically ruin the foundations of each Pokemon League in every region? Yes I am. Choice Scarf go brrr, but Leon's ace Charizard goes fire noises. This final boss's signature G-Max Wildfire has a residual damage secondary effect on anything that isn't a fire type, though unlike G-Max Centiferno from Kabu's match, this doesn't force us to stay in at least. Dedicated walls will crumble eventually still, especially with Charizard's wide variety of max moves. I can't remember the last time I was put in a corner like this. We swapped to Hermes to withstand the storm of a max airstream. Baiting a rock move now, Zeus's fighting steel typing comes in to surmount a max rock fall. Finally baiting the aforementioned G-Max Wildfire, Cronus is sent in to cool things down. We've outlasted the deadliest Gigantamax of the run, utilizing every single party member of ours, except one. But Apollo could finish this. He has shown throughout this run that he is invaluable. When one hears Cynthia, Garchomp is not far off in association, but was using him even worth the effort with our squad? A group of dominant Sinonian Pokemon featuring a tropical scaly lad that can fare against the best of the best from other regions. I think we can. Know that he would have made this battle a breeze, but he ain't a hard carry, because with Leon's Charizard struggling to bring this back with a hopeless air/flinch attempt, Cronus's Weather Ball gains the power of rock within the sandstorm brought about by Leon's own commands. The 4-time super effective shot quells the champion's one and only partner. Just a few moments ago, I was the most powerful challenger, and just now, I became the most powerful of all the trainers, winning this entire Pokémon Sword Hardcore Nuzlocke. That was excellent. Truly an outstanding challenge. I'm glad I was able to give this game a chance as a Nuzlocke, and reassess how I thought about Generation 8 as a whole. Sure, I still find the story a bit lackluster, but as for the challenge itself, it was a joy utilizing amazing TRs and items early on, something not too common in most other Pokemon games. Dealing with Dynamax Pokemon also brought a new layer to strategizing that I quite enjoyed. Overall, a pretty fun experience for a game I haven't played in over half a decade. And again, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe for more Nuzlockes, as well as following my Twitch for live attempts. See you guys next time for more Pokemon content.